Live from the City Building in Athens, Ohio, your local source for live city meetings, TGC 15 presents Athens City Council.
Good evening. Welcome to Athens City Council. Tonight is Monday, January 3rd, 2011. It's on or about 7:30 p.m., and we do have a quorum with all members of council present. Next item on our agenda is the disposition of minutes for the special session held November 29th, 10, regular session held December 6th, 10, and special session held December 13th, 10. Do we have a motion to accept?
So moved. Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those minutes have been accepted. Communications. I do have a few communications that I do need to share. One is announcing a notice of a public hearing. Athens City Council will hold a public hearing 7 p.m. Monday, January 10th in these chambers on the third floor of City Building. This hearing is to consider the Planning Commission's recommendation to amend Athens City Zoning Code to include total lot coverage. So anyone that would be interested in appearing and hearing what's going on with that is more than welcome. Again, 7 p.m. Monday, January 10th. We have 3 different liquor permit changes. One is going to Pizza Hut on East State Street from Midland Food Services on East State Street. The other one is going to Pizza Hut on Richland Avenue from Midland Food Services on Richland Avenue. And the third one is to the Southeastern Ohio Management Company, LLC, which I believe is a new permit. I'm not showing where it is coming from any other location. And it is a D5B permit, and it's my understanding that the Southeastern Ohio Management Company is the mall, otherwise known as Market on State. So, are we looking for requesting any hearings? Not seeing any, and these will be in the council chambers for anyone wishing to view them. Are there any other communications? Yes, Member Fall.
I have a couple people who would like to be nominated to be on the Disabilities Commission because their terms end at the end of February, and they would like to be renominated tonight. One is Scott Dennis, Pete Bowen, and Bruce Ergood.
Okay. Is there any discussion for any of these members? All those in favor of renominating the said members for another term?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, you're on for another term, and thank you for your service to the city. Any other communications? Reports and communications from other elected officials. Mayor Weil.
I just came in late, so I assume you talked about the public hearing?
Yes, we did.
Okay, good enough then. Let's see, a couple of things.
Quite a bit of echo going on right now. For anyone that hasn't figured it out and not knowing exactly how well we are going out, we've had some major equipment difficulties, and we are using some of our older equipment, so try to excuse the echo that you're hearing in here.
I was wondering why there was a color pattern on the screen. Is that actually going out entirely?
It's
at
my
all?
understanding we are going out, but we do not have monitors within the room.
Okay, a couple things. One is at a staff meeting, Andy, Stone, and Paul Logue were talking about trying to do a sidewalk plan for next year, so we'll start working on sidewalks. Just so you know, we're going to try an assessment system, so we'll have to have some good timing with council and designs and plans, et cetera, et cetera. And on sidewalks, of course, I noticed during the past couple of weeks when the snow is there, a lot of sidewalks weren't done. I told code to give warnings and citations. They pointed out that a lot of property owners were some of the people who were not doing the sidewalks. They took off for Point South or someplace, so just so you know. And the last item I have, let's see, is we'll start doing the Christmas tree pickups. They should start tomorrow and go through March 1st, actually. And of course, it's a case of calling up the Public Works, or 5923343. I guess we're going to use the trees to put into Lake Snowden for aquatic habitat. So give them a call so you can put it to use. No tinsel, of course. And that's all I really have.
Questions for the mayor? City Auditor Kathy Heck.
Thank you. I do have just a couple things. We received our letter from the state auditors. We had to go out to bid for our auditors this year, and I'm very happy that the bid did go to the auditors we've had for the last 4 years. We've worked very well with them. We're allowed by law to keep an auditing firm up to 10 years, but the state monitors that, and they don't give out 10-year contracts, and so we had to go out to bid, and in the rating process it was very close, and so, but I wrote a letter, and so we're happy about that. It should make our audit go smoothly again this year. The second thing is I handed out unappropriated balance sheets, and I just wanted to point out to everyone in the general fund our carryover is $500,000, keeping in mind that if we had not received that one-time bump in additional revenue, that put just over $300,000 in the general fund. It was $490,000 total, but so we would have had barely $200,000 carryover in the general fund, and our estimates were very close. We were down maybe $100,000, which in the big total budget, that's not a lot. But so our estimates were close, but we were not even quite there, and I don't expect it to improve any this coming year.
Questions for the auditor? City Law Director Patrick Lang.
Thank you, Mr. President. This being the first meeting of the new year, as well as the fact that we have a pretty light agenda tonight, I thought it would be appropriate to take a few minutes to update the council as well as viewers at home about sort of where the city is at legally and the pending cases right now. First thing I'd like to do is just give a very brief background. I found that there's a lot of times people don't really know what a law director is or does, as opposed to a mayor or an auditor, which most people seem to have a pretty firm grasp on. So just by way of background, the law director's office in Athens is an office of 5 people, in addition to myself, which includes 3 full-time criminal prosecutors who report to me. And our office has jurisdiction for the prosecution of all misdemeanor crimes committed both in the city of Athens and in the unincorporated areas of Athens County. So in addition to the criminal responsibilities of the law director's office, I am also charged with the responsibility of being the chief legal counsel, sort of a general counsel for the city of Athens in all civil litigation matters. In addition to that, I also serve on the bargaining unit for the administration and the negotiation of labor contracts. I'll have a brief update on that in a moment. And also works with the Code Enforcement Office. In addition to the misdemeanor criminal elements that we pursue, we also have cases brought to us by the Office of Code Enforcement. And this is sometimes an area of confusion that the law director's office is not the Code Enforcement Office, it's a separate entity, and so we don't go out and investigate code violations, but we do prosecute the cases which are brought to us by the Code Enforcement Office. And also in the last couple of years, I've been pleased to work with the auditor's office in helping to collect late taxes for the city of Athens, which has helped to bring in a little extra money that otherwise would just be sitting out there. I'd like to give a brief update on where we are with labor negotiations with AFSCME, with the firefighters unit, and members of council have received a memo on this. And so as you may know, we had reached a tentative agreement with the firefighters union shortly before Christmas. And this was submitted to their entire membership for a vote, and the firefighters voted to reject this contract. And so we are now scheduled to go back to the bargaining table on January 12th. And I want to stress for anyone listening that this is a what's called a non-strike unit, and so the city will continue to receive fire protection even if we are unable to come to an agreement on the contract. This won't involve a strike. If in the event that we are unable to reach agreement that is acceptable to both sides, then what happens next is we go to a process called conciliation, in which we have basically a hearing officer from the state of Ohio, from the State Employment Relations Board, who will hear basically each side and then make a determination as to on each contract issue as to what the outcome will be on that. I'd also like to give a brief update on civil litigation involving the city right now, and especially given that we've got a couple of higher profile cases which have been reported on at some length. I think it's important to keep in mind that we actually have a comparatively small amount of civil litigation that we're involved in right now. In fact, I'm pleased to say that every year that I've been law director, we've had fewer and fewer pending cases, and that's a good trend, and hopefully we can continue that. I did want to go through, and I'm not going to go into any real detail on these cases or certainly any kind of strategy, since there are certain confidentialities that have to be followed here. But I just want to give folks an idea of where we're at on various cases. And of these 6 cases, 2 of them are actually ones that we filed ourselves. So we're the defendants in 4 pending cases. The first one here, and the only one that's currently pending in federal court, is the University Estates case. And that's been reported on fairly extensively, and as you know, that case is currently pending in the Southern District of Ohio. We have 2 cases involving essentially infrastructure issues, and one of those being a Matter versus the City of Athens. This involves damages which were allegedly caused from a burst water line, and our insurance company had denied payment of that claim, and so that suit was filed against the city. And our other case involving infrastructure was Laurie's Incorporated versus the City of Athens. This is the most recent of the cases. This was filed, I believe, in December. It was in December. And this involves a storm sewer line and some alleged damages that were caused as a result of that. And in that case, once again, the insurance company denied payment of that claim, and so a suit was filed. The other case in which we're the defendants here is the Palmer Place case, Palmer Place versus Mosley et al. And as you probably know, that we had our trial on that in December. That case is done as far as final arguments have been submitted. We're awaiting a decision from Judge Ward on that. And then our other 2 cases where we had actually initiated the actions were one is an appeal before the 4th District Court of Appeals on the 3 White Entertainment. This involves a Board of Zoning Appeals ruling from 2008, which had been appealed to the Common Pleas Court, and then we had subsequently appealed that ruling to the 4th District. That case, once again, has been, the arguments are completed, it's been submitted, and we're just waiting decision from the 4th District on that. And then finally is a tax appeal case in which we are actually partners with the Athens City School District and have filed to appeal over essentially the issue being now tax valuation of the Walmart and Lowe's property and how those are calculated and the amount of tax revenue that we're able to derive from that. So that's kind of a general update as to where we are, and certainly would be happy to take any questions that I can answer.
Questions for the law director?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you for that update. Very informative. We'll move on to ordinances for 3rd reading, of which there is only one on the agenda tonight. Ordinance 12410 is an ordinance authorizing the Service Safety Director to submit an application and enter into an agreement with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources for the purpose of acquiring grant funds through the Division of Forestry's Urban Forestry Assistance Program and declaring an emergency. Member Gosney.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we table this ordinance indefinitely.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion on tabling only.
The purpose of tabling this is that it's a relatively moot point now due to the fact that the grant deadline has passed for this particular grant.
Is there further discussion on tabling? All those in favor of tabling the ordinance?
Aye.
Opposed? The ordinance has been tabled. On to announcements and other business. Are there any announcements that anyone wishes to make, or committee meetings next week anyone would like to say?
Did they cover disabilities commission people? Okay.
I was wondering if we could have a small discussion of the county's proposal to have a street sewer on the southwest border, to see where the issues are, what the issues are.
Not an agenda item tonight. We could certainly have it as a committee meeting next week.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah.
I thought you were wanting to do that right now.
No, I just want to make sure the mayor was, I mean, he thought that my comments with Fred Pett were a little bit too positive, and I'm still, but they're more positive than they were last time I talked about it, so.
Could we have Bob Eichenberg come and give a presentation on it, or is he ready for that? Or
or should we just have an update?
Probably we should just get an update. We'll pull the people together. Probably it would involve probably Paul Loeb, maybe Andy, to start with. I don't know if we'll bring him here, but we'll get information to you. As far as I know, Bob Eichenberg is going to go part-time, so I don't know if we can actually get him.
The main question that I wanted to talk about is, you know, the requirement for any requirements that we would put on it, not that we would agree to it, but, you know, just what are the issues that you see, what are the positives and what are the negatives?
Okay.
And maybe you don't feel so strongly enough that you know it, and so we could have Debbie send you on email as an attachment the maps that have been part of this. And it's really early times. I mean, we are not anywhere close to starting a decision process, but I think we need to at least start to weigh out the costs and benefits for us personally, for the city.
Very good.
Okay.
So plan, City Services Committee.
Right, that's what I was hoping.
Put that on the agenda. Anyone else?
I would like to have a Finance and Personnel Committee meeting.
Okay.
We'd like to have a community issues meeting, and part of that will be a presentation by Tom Kasparich for the Live Healthy Appalachia
That's right.
Summit.
We've talked about that for a while. Lahu, did you want one?
I don't need something next week.
Anyone else? Yeah.
Mr. President, and I neglected to mention that we will also have a presentation by the Disabilities Commission. They stepped up and begun an annual presentation telling council about the work they've done in the past year.
So the short meeting that we're getting by with tonight will be made up for next
Absolutely.
week.
Well, we could probably postpone that discussion for 2 weeks if we have to on the sewer expansion. So that's
Would
okay.
that give more time?
Well, I don't think anything's gonna change much in those 2 weeks, but it's just,
Or more people may be aware of it. and
right, we'll send you the
start
maps
thinking
and
about
let you
it. Yeah.
look at it, because the decision will be made at some future point.
Okay. Yes, Member
Debbie,
Kuhn.
do you think we have room for a safety committee meeting?
We'll make them.
Well, the
Fire chief.
in to answer questions about the
Is,
fire truck.
is time,
That's what
an
my
issue?
concern is.
if time's an issue, do it.
Well, is time is an issue?
Well, I'm just wondering if we had too much scheduled for
Yeah.
next week.
And nothing would change in 2 weeks' time? Probably not.
I'm eager to get going on this.
Okay.
Or to reach a resolution.
Right.
Talk to the fire chief, talk to the clerk of council, make your decision this week.
Okay, I'll get with you then.
Sure.
Okay.
The only question is, do we
Anyone else?
need it or do we not?
I assume that you saw the price list for the ladder truck. I think we sent a copy of that up to Chambers. Okay. With
I'm sorry.
We were just I was asking her, the question I asked Paula last time and I haven't gotten an answer on, why do we know we need one?
I think you asked me that last week too.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I always ask unpleasant
I do not know
questions.
why we need one except for the age.
Why we, yeah, and
And
gee,
we've al-
age is sometimes okay.
Nancy and I were here when we bought the one.
Yeah, it was the.
And do you feel as chipper as the ladder truck?
I have maybe geraniums in it in my backyard. I don't know. I
And
mean,
I remember it cost $400,000.
I wish we could get one for $400.
know.
we'd be covered then, wouldn't we?
We would.
We could get 2.5 for what you want to spend. Okay, well, we can determine during the week if we want to add it or if we
Okay.
want to postpone it.
Then
So
we
you
won't
can
have any
make that
questions
decision.
really. I mean, if we
Are there any
have to
other
do it,
announcements?
We have to do it.
Next item on our agenda is an opportunity for
You're
citizens
right.
to
We
speak
have
on
to do
any
it. We have to do it.
legislative items or
But
city
you gave me this
services
and I
that we
wrote
did
down
not
through.
cover on tonight's
It
agenda.
seems to me
Is there anyone here wishing to
we
speak
could
before
cut some of
council?
these.
Seeing none and having addressed all items on our
The standard
agenda,
is 0.
we stand adjourned.